What if I told you that the Titanic never actually hit an iceberg, and it also didn't even sink? We are talking about the OG Titanic here from 1912. And before you dismiss this as some crazy nonsense, just have a listen to the story here. Do you know that the Titanic belonged to J.P. Morgan? And as we know, he was the founder of the biggest bank in America, called J.P. Morgan Chase. And he didn't have just one ship, he had two. Well, he probably had a lot more, but he had the Titanic along with another one called the Olympic. So the Olympic wasn't that great. It was old and rusty and broken down and had been in an accident just a year before, and the Olympic wasn't insured. But the Titanic was, so J.P. Morgan saw an opportunity here. The theory claims that he switched the names and the colors of the two ships, that he literally went up to the rickety-ass Olympic ship, and he slapped the Titanic name and colors on it. Now, when the Titanic was making its first voyage from England to New York City, it was actually the broken-down Olympic. And do you know who was on this voyage? Well, first of all, the Titanic was no easy sell, with the average price of a first-class ticket around $400. And we're talking 1912 money right here, converted to today's inflation rate. That would be a little over $12,000. So it's safe to say the people on this boat were pretty well off. And among those people we had John Astor, Isidor Straus, and Benjamin Guggenheim, all of whom were very wealthy business competitors of J.P. Morgan. And unfortunately, none of them survived this journey. Now, of course, J.P. Morgan should be on this trip too, because he funded the entire construction of the Titanic, so surely he'd want to go on a ride for something he spent millions of dollars on. But allegedly, right before it set sail, he cancels the trip on his own ship that he spent millions of dollars on, along with a few friends of his. A group of extremely wealthy people who all happened to support the creation of a Central Federal Reserve Bank, meaning one place would print and control all the money. All of these people were scheduled to set sail on the Titanic, and they all back out last second. Now remember those three businessmen from before, John Astor, Isidor Straus, and Benjamin Guggenheim? Well, they happened to oppose the creation of a central bank. And guess what happens in 1913? Just a year after the three of them pass away in the sinking of the Titanic ship. The Federal Reserve Act is signed into law, exactly what the three of them opposed, and what the other men who canceled their trips supported. And it gets even crazier. Recent 3D scans of the sunken wreckage allows us to view the ship as if all the water had been drained from it. And it shows us something. The Titanic supposedly grazed an iceberg, which caused a 120-meter breach in its double-reinforced steel hull. But upon investigating these 3D scans, there was no 120-meter breach, but rather many smaller holes ranging from 1 to 50 centimeters, which by their shape were said to have been caused by internal explosions. Then the SS Californian, another ship just 40 miles away from the Titanic at the time it hit the iceberg, infamously known as the ship that watched the Titanic sink, did just that. They saw the distress rockets being fired off by the crew of the Titanic, but for some reason it took over 6 hours to even start making their way towards them for help. And it was even said that the captain of the Titanic ship decided to change course at the last minute, just before the incident happened. This sounds very suspicious, but please remember this is all just a theory. This video was made for entertainment purposes only. Thanks for watching.